Hey everybody, Sob here. Hopefully the sound on this is okay, because I'm recording in kind of an empty room, so it's a little more echoey than normal. But anyway, I wanted to do something a little bit more different again than what I've posted in the past, and that's going to be more of an unboxing and taking a look at the newest Shadows of the Brimstone core box. Now this is the Adventures box, so it's slightly different than the core boxes in the past, like Cities of the Ancients, or Forbidden Fortress, or Swamps of Death. It was the goal with Adventures, I guess, was slightly smaller box, slightly easier, cheaper buy-in, and but slightly less stuff. And I think with the way things have gone recently, the goal of it being cheaper might not be as much the case. It's a little bit cheaper than buying a regular core box. But once you add up this box plus this map tile pack, which kind of make it the same size as a core box, you're paying a little bit more than a core box. Now, as I go through this, I am going to have timestamps below so you can jump to parts that are interesting to you, and we will take a look at as much as we can as we go through everything. Try to take a peek and see what's what in this box here. The reason I wanted to take a look at this recently is because there is a new Kickstarter going on for their new 2 boxes, and it's probably going to be over before this video goes up, or it'll be ending very soon, just because of the speed that I got these in. Yeah, so that new Kickstarter is pretty exciting. It's going to have a new core set, the Lost Tombs. It's going to be like a 1930s pulp set in Egypt, and then they're going to have another set, the Impossible Hell Train set, which is going to be a continuation of their Western stuff. And if you have been following Shadows of Brimstone for a while, you would know that their first campaign, they kind of teased it as a stretch goal that never happened. And so now here we are. They've got, what I'm kind of excited about is mounted heroes and enemies. They've got some amazing looking stretch goals that have come out, including some XXL, so very large figures. There's a giant serpent god, there's a Nautilus Kraken. I'm really excited for the Feeders of the Dark. Anyway, back to the Gates of Valhalla box here. And so this box, the goal, as I said, was to make it more a cheaper entry point. It's a lot smaller of a box in terms of size and content. It's closer more to like the size of a deluxe expansion, or like Otherworld box in depth. Pretty similar. This feels like the same depth as the other core box. I don't have the core boxes easily available right now, so I just have this deluxe box to compare it to. In terms of actual content, some of the big differences in terms of size is the number of map tiles. Normally there is 12 map tiles, and there's only 7 in this one, 7 room tiles, and then 3 passage tiles. There's 6 passage tiles, I think, in the other core boxes. Might have been even more in Forbidden Fortress, probably like 9. But this thing's going to add a whole pile more tiles to kind of make it and flesh it out a little bit and add more tiles, which you can see here, and we'll take a peek at these at the end. I'll get rid of this for now. In terms of miniatures, there's a few less, I think. Let's go through it and just check here. So we got 4 heroes. That's the same as the other core boxes. This one actually added the allies into the base box. So normally in the Wild West and the Feudal Japan set, you had to buy the allies pack separately. So it's kind of neat that they're in here. Then we have 6 Targa Centurions as one of our enemies, 12 plastic Grimians, 3 plastic Trolls, 3 Targa Librarians, and an extra large plastic Frost Giant. It's that guy right here. Yeah, so the contents are a little bit different than the old core boxes. Some things are similar, like the 12 Void Spiders, the 12 Hungry Dead in the original core box. Now we got 12 of these small little dudes here. They had the 6 Stranglers in the City of the Ancients box, and I guess like that would count like the Centurions. And there's 6 Tentacles, which there's nothing really to compare that to here. 3 Night Terrors, which you could compare that to the Librarians. And then they had that Goliath that you compare it to the Frost Giant. So just a couple less enemies, but there's actually, I think, the same number of enemy cards. So that is kind of nice. But yeah, let's crack this open and we'll take a peek at what's all inside. So I'm personally pretty excited for this box, simply because I think this is a really neat new place for it to go. You know, from the Wild West to feudal Japan, now we're going off to Norse, and then of course the Spanish Conquistadors is coming up soon. And of course, first thing you see is a bunch of sprues. So this here has our 3 allies. And I will try to get these cleaned up and put out, so you can see that. Here's one of the allies, just a 2-piece model with the shield being separate, and there's 3 of them in the box. Of course, they're all exactly the same. So I'll be painting them different colors to kind of separate them out, make them all look different. And here we have our, looks like our Targa Librarians. Very nice. Oh, do they have multiple head choices? Ooh, I've forgotten all about that. Here's a Targa Librarian assembled. There's 3 of them. I just assembled one of them. And I was pretty excited about these models, but they were actually a bit of a pain to put together. These little arms at the top, the little set of arms. They also where the gates were for the plastic injection was kind of not a great spot for them. But I do quite like these guys. I'll probably paint one as like the, I can't remember what it's called, but like the elite or head librarian, and then I'll paint the other 2 in a more regular color scheme. What I also like about them is there's these weapons here, and on the sprue you get 2 more. So something to do, you get 1 librarian with each arm, and then I'm going to have 2 of each arm left over, which is kind of cool to put that in the bits box. They also have ball joints, so you can adjust how each of the arms and the head and these little arms attach and where they pose. So a little bit more posability with this one. Here we got our trolls. Here's the troll all built. This fantastic little model. I'm very excited to paint this guy up. I'll probably do 1 or do 3 different schemes, 1 for each of them, because there's 3 of these guys. Tail is great. I did not know there's going to be a tail. If you are a painter, you might not want to put the head on right away, because you can paint the tongue inside before you put the head on. And Targa Centurions. Centurion, which you get 6 of. They have ball joints for the arms, so you can adjust how the arms are on the model, as well as the head. These guys are our little gremlin-like dudes. Gremmians. So here's a gremlin all cut out. He's 1 piece. There's 12 of them. This is just 1 of them. You can see some spots I gotta clean up still, apparently. And I'm not a big fan of this one. I thought I was gonna be more excited until I saw it in person. And I'm not as excited as I thought I would be. Here we have, looks like our 4 heroes. Here's our 4 heroes. All this. Here's our 4 heroes all assembled. They're only 2 or 3 pieces each. If you're a painter, you probably would not want to attach this axe on right away. I usually just paint them all as they are, and if I can't get at something, that's not a big deal. But if you really want to get in all the nooks and crannies, you want to attach parts later. I found the bow very hard to attach to her. I don't know why I was struggling so much, but I really was. And of course is it a frost giant? Yeah. Our frost giant. Oh, look at that head. Last but not least, here is the frost giant. In comparison to one of our heroes, he's on a 60 millimeter base. He's an XL figure in the Shadows of Brimstone line. This cape was very tricky to get to seal properly, to get it to sit nice and tight. You can still see the joint here, but it's very difficult. I ended up having to shave a whole pile of his cloak just along the top here, making it thinner, the support that runs all the way through it, so that it would fit on there properly. Maybe I did something wrong, but I could not get it to join nicely without that. And then here is everybody. And of course we need to have our how to build kit. We will assemble all these and show them off, or I probably already have as they flip through. Alright, after that we get into our adventure book. So our adventure book is going to be all of our different missions. Let's get this box out of the way. So here we have our adventure book. I love the art on that. And it goes over the story campaign, and then the campaign missions, and then how to go beyond the campaign, how to level things up. You have a camp you can upgrade. This is pretty exciting to have like an actual campaign and missions that you can follow along. Unlike the old Shadows of the Brimstone stuff, where it was just, missions and you kind of like decide how they threaded together yourself. That's the cool part about the adventures, is that it's more of a narrative that kind of flows through in a suggested order you can do some of these things in. And a bunch of lore. The map of where you'll be going out and going on your adventures. How the story campaign all works. I think this is interesting that you can play multiple missions each time. They're randomly generated, so you can still make it new and exciting, so they say. And the results of during story mission, you can go and play back any of the previous missions. It's not going to change the results of them, but you can build some more XP and get some more resources to build up their camps and stuff like that. I'm curious if it's required or if it's going to be able to play through it just to play your missions and be done. So there are 8 missions in this box, and what is kind of exciting is that these missions don't really replicate a lot of the missions that you had in the original cores, where there's a lot of overlap between the 2 first cores. And then, of course, even Fofo had like Forbidden Fortress had a lot of similarities to the other cores, just kind of like thematically changed a little bit. We're not going to read everything, obviously, but you have your Darkstone Raid, which is very similar to the missions that you have in the other core sets, introducing the game and how it works. Have a troll hunt, and then a steel adventure, and of course gateway to Valhalla adventure. This will be the first time you're actually going to go through a portal and go to the Otherworld. For those who are familiar with Shadows of Brimstone, you'll know that there is the main world, either the Wild West world or Feudal Japan world. In this case, like the Norse camp and around there. And then you're going to be able to go through all these portals that take you to other worlds. And there's always another world in the core box, but of course you could also jump over and play any of the other worlds that you might have in different boxes you purchased, such as like a derelict ship or the wastelands. So we're going to the Targa Plateau. And we're going to have a battle with a frost giant on mission 5. Mission 6 is going to be a lot of spending time, and this is the first fixed map layout mission in this campaign. And there's quite a few different things to worry about. So the rest of them, kind of as you move, you draw cards and you'll find out which tiles you're going to. In this case here, you're going to have that set map. Odin's Vengeance. And here in the Odin's Vengeance, you're going to have to fight a frost giant warlord and defeat him. Those, of course, are current campaign results. You can also play these out without a campaign, obviously. And then the last mission, Sinister Intelligence. So this way you can play them all in order and have your full story, or, of course, you can play them as one-offs. So I guess, my apologies, I thought there was another fixed map. But I guess the only one that has a fixed map is Mission 6. After that, it's going to tell you how to kind of do more basic missions. It gives you a whole pile of basic missions here that you can go and play, how to set them up, all the things that might pop up and you might do. How to level up. These are the level up charts. How the camp works. How to upgrade your camp. And then it's going to have a bunch of art for painted minis. And some overview of them. I didn't know there were tentacles. Are there plastic tentacles in here? I don't remember plastic tentacles being in here. Bunch more lore. Oh, I love these guys. How to paint guide. I try to never really follow. Daily event chart for the Viking camp. Mutations chart. Again, they're a staple for Shadows of Brimstone. These all look like... Yeah, this is the regular mutations chart. Nothing, I don't see anything added or different. If there is, my apologies. It's been a while since I've looked at the mutation chart. You can be corrupted by Darkstone. And in mutation chart, you'll roll on that and you'll find out what you get as a mutation. Some of them are terrible. Some of them are great, right? Some of them do nothing. Tentacle Tongue, it's gross, has no game effect, but you could get a Tentacle Tail and you get an extra move. I like growing an extra arm. There's a weapon in, I think, the Blasted Waste where you have to have 3 hands in order to use a certain kind of really cool weapon. And so sometimes these things benefit you, right? But if you get too many, then your character dies from mutation. So that's kind of neat. A little glossary, always important to have a glossary. Some clarifications. And then, of course, your character stats that you can kind of collect and gather in your campaign log. You can photocopy that. There we go. So that's the adventure book. Pretty sweet. I'm excited to have an actual campaign for once. It's fun to string them together, kind of make your own reason for why things are happening, but I'll definitely play through your campaign first. Rulebook. We're not going to go through the rulebook a whole lot, but it tells you about all the pieces and all the things and all the card types, how the heroes work and how to set up the game and all the things you need to know about depth tracks. You can look at any of the rule books. They're available online, and a lot of that pie would be the same. Someone I'm sure is going to go deep into all the little minutiae that might be a little bit different or changed in this one if something did change. Forbidden Fortress brought a lot of the changes. All right, what do we have next in the box? Large placards. These are just cardstock. Some people laminate them. You've got your camp and your depth event charts. Every time you're moving through opening a new map up or flipping a new map, you're going to be going deeper down, and there's more and more risks of things. You're always going to be rolling to hold back the darkness as well and all that kind of stuff. But we're not going to get into how the game plays. I'd hope to do an actual gameplay of this, but I want to get this something done around when the Kickstarter was up. So sadly, this is what we're going to get. How the Viking camp works, some library knowledge, buying supplies, more supplies, campfire location, all the things you can do there, recruiting some warriors, how to get some healing when you're between missions. These are all things that you can purchase in like the camp, right? Let's skip that for now. Things you can trade at the camp. And Viking Forge. Oh man, I wish I'd take more time to read this. This looks cool. Oh, I think there's new items. The Rune of Defiance. Cool. Alright, and then the classic injury chart. After you've been KO'd, when you recover, you're going to heal up 2d6 worth of wounds and sanity, and then you're going to have to roll on the injury chart, see what happened to you. And if you already have an injury, then you get to, you pick the one that's below it, or above it. So different things can happen to you, and they have full-on effects, and there's some things you can heal up, of course, when you go to the Viking Healer. And the Madness chart, same kind of thing, when you're losing sanity. After that, we got a bunch of our bigger cards. We'll work with those after. Here's our different enemies, the Archive Towers, which there's not minis for in either. Probably were a stretch goal kind of thing, or a thing you can get if you backed the original Kickstarter. I imagine there must be cardboard chits for these instead. Cardboard tokens for these enemies. I'm not going to go over the whole card, but there it is if people are interested. Of course, there's the brutal side, but we're not really going to take a quick look at those. We'll just stick this side, the Centurions. The Frost Giant. A lot of initiative 3s. Thank goodness he doesn't have a range ability. Unless he has one here. No. Alright, these guys are going to attack a lot faster. The Grimians, I'll probably call them Gremlins a lot, because even though there's lots of lore to these. Instead of a normal melee attack, each Grimian does a 1 automatic combat hit to every adjacent hero. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I like that. Only 1 health each, which is great, but they do have a lot of defense. The Targa Librarian. The Tentacles. Maybe they're assuming you'd have tentacles from other core boxes, but I mean, this is your first set. There must be, again, cardboard tokens for these. But if you already have a set, I guess they don't need to include more plastic in these boxes. That's a good way for them to save some money for those who have bought a lot of Shadows of Brimstone. And for those that haven't, well, if you play this box, if you love it, then you're probably going to buy one of the other core sets, and they have tentacles. Forbidden Fortress tentacles are different. These are the Wild West looking tentacles. And the Trolls. Alright, and of course they all have a brutal side, right? And they all have elite chart abilities. But you have to to buy the game to look at all that. Alright. I'm not sure which side is which. I think this is the side and these are the alt gender side. You can buy an alt gender pack probably eventually. If you're a Kickstarter backer, which I was not, then you would get those for free at some point when they come in. But otherwise, got our stats here. I'm not going to go over all of them, but you can take a look at them if that's something that interests you. Just know that they exist. This guy's a bruiser. This berserker, 16 health. Nice. These do look like fun to play. And then the allies. Bit about them, how much they cost. You can get 2 per hero. Limit of 6. There's only 3 in the box, but that's all right. You can hire some heroes, especially handy if you play solo. What's cool about these is, I think maybe I mentioned already that this is the first time they've come in a core box. Normally you have to buy them as an extra for the Forbidden Fortress and for the Western story, or for the Western setting, but this set included in there originally. Which is really nice of them. Originally it was a stretch goal that sounded like it was supposed to be a separate thing, but I guess they rolled it into the core box, which I think is greatly appreciated. Dice, no need to really talk about them. Peril die, which is the only kind of unique die. Got our artifacts, which are very exciting, things to go hunt down. This looks like darkness cards and the map pack cards. I'll take a quick peek at them. I should show that they left a pile of room for sleeving, or more likely probably for adding all the expansions, but that is good news. We'll take a look quickly here. I'm not going to open and show every single card, but we will go over a lot of them. This is going to be a long video. Alright, so let's go to the Norse Lands. So the Norse Lands is the main world where your first 5 missions will take place in that campaign, or if you're playing just as the Norse Lands as your Otherworld, if you come from feudal Japan or from the Western. But basically you shuffle them up, you'll draw it, and it'll tell you what tile to put out. And you gotta roll some dice to find out if it's gonna have dead ends or anything else that goes on with it. And what is fun, of course, if you're playing the game, is there's the advanced card. The advanced card for an encounter that happens specifically at this place. So I tend to like to play with those, but they do make the game usually harder. Or at least I found maybe things are not that way anymore, but I'm sure they are. So you got a bunch of those. We'll see all these tiles, so it's not really a big deal to look at those. Targa be on the other side, and Targa is Targa Plateau. And you go through this in a mission 4 out of 8, and same deal. You're gonna have a bunch of all the tiles. And of course, when we look at the tile pack, it'll come with more of these cards, and they'll get added to the map deck. And these are special cards. There's only 3 of them. We're not going to take too much look at them. But these are the Codex cards for the Targa Librarians. Gives them some different abilities. Alrighty. These are the Otherworld threat cards at Targa Plateau. So different types of Centurions, So when you go to the Targa Plateau and you encounter a combat, you'll flip this over and you'd see who you're going to fight. And tell you how many there are. Based on how many heroes roll on the peril die to find out, that kind of thing. This, of course, is a mix of the Librarian and the Centurions. And you can buy Otherworld threat cards, or you'll come in other core sets, anything in the that can go in the Targa Plateau, and it'll go there. And of course, you can put anything in the threat deck. It doesn't have to belong to the Targa Plateau, but they kind of theme them a little bit. And of course, it's just stuff that's in the core box. And if you had Targa Plateau stuff from City of the Ancients, which is the other box that has a Targa Plateau Otherworld, then you'll be able to shuffle those into this as well and add more villain or more enemies to your deck. And then a lot of other expansions will add even more Targa Plateau enemies. There's so many expansions for this game. Let's see here. Let's jump to threat deck. All right. So this would be for your main world, which for us would be the Norse Lands. But if you're playing the Western setting and you want to add these extra enemies in, then of course you could shuffle these low ones in as well if you wanted. And so, same thing, you find out what's coming. And you got one troll and troll, d6 plus 2 Gremlins, some tentacles. They gotta have a card token. Or Centurion Hunters. And then you got your medium threats, trolls. Your high threats, trolls, 2 medium threats, the Frost Giant, all 12 of them. That would be bananas. Tentacles. And then the epic threat deck, which I never really play with because I'm usually playing lower player counts. And I don't usually level up my characters far enough to really worry or throw epic deck cards in. But I should, because I have piles of cards that never get pulled out, never get used. Cool. So that's those. The Norse Lands artifacts. There's a lot. We're not going to look at all of them. That would be, well, plus it's not fun if you're going to buy this game. If you do that, Runestones, discard, cancel a darkness or growing dread card. Runic Blade, +1 for combat. Axe of Biomar. I kind of like that. Odin Stone. Reroll, hold back the darkness roll. Helm of Messelheim. Oh my goodness, I should be able to say this word. It's pretty common now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some Troll Blood. Discard to fully heal and recover a grit. Rune of the Trickster. Some of the artifacts you can find in the Norse Lands. Of course, there's card packs that'll add more stuff to that if you want to purchase those from their Fub store. This all encounters. Yeah, we're not gonna spoil these because there's always a little bit of story. And then a roll tells you what happens. Okay, let's look at this next one. Targa Plateau artifacts. Ooh, probably got some cool, powerful weapons here. That's where you get to give your Vikings, your Norse, some alien tech probably. some of them. An archive interface. Remove some archive markers in the depth track. Ooh, Centurion Power Sword. Looks cool. Darkwave Gun. Throwing a little bit of, of course, our sci-fi into our fantasy world. Tase Malice. And a key fragment. Recover grit. And it boosts skill checks. Cool. Again, you can look through all of those yourself when you get the box. Don't want to spoil everything. Encounters, you get quite a few. One for every. And again, I don't want to spoil them, so we're not going to read them. And the personal item starters. I like that a lot. I think those are starting items. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I've played Shadows of Brimstone. They've been boxed up for a while. Some team abilities. We're not going to worry about these, but this is one of the things where if everybody's a Viking, they all kind of gain this ability, Viking ability. So if you have a team of 4 Vikings, or then, or I guess potentially you could have more if you wanted to photocopy a card and whatever. They all get a special ability. And then of course that kind of minimizes if you want to play with like a mix, like a Western cowboy or feudal Japan character. With your Norse Vikings, they're not going to get these special abilities, these team abilities. Some of these I think could be for anybody. It doesn't say Viking hero. Cool. Oh, this is starting gear. Okay, so personal item is that one that you get when you're building your character. And of course, you get your pick of what you'd like to be or have as your ability. Here's them for the Berserker. These cards are more about for those who play a lot of Shadows of Brimstone. Already know all what these cards do and why they exist. I feel like if you don't, you probably are tuning out by now, or you're jumping over to a section that interests you more. I don't have a lot to say to these because I've not read them. So I don't feel like commenting on them. I don't think it would be useful. I couldn't really make any useful comments. Starting gear. Scavenge. Classic usual Scavenge card. Nothing here, something in the dark. Your loot cards. Again, standard stuff. And then we have all of the tip cards. Allies, the bouncing diagram, a little bit about the prime. Oh, that's that special head. Oops. Somehow I got one loot card loose there. more about the side bag tokens you can add in. I guess those might be interesting actually to people. Just the throwing axes sound like fun. And raw or cooked meat, taking corruption, bandage and nail we already know about, rage we know about, I think. Do we have rage as a mechanic earlier? Well, I don't know. There's a rage token mechanic if you're not sure, because I'm not sure. And our last thing, the world card, not important to talk about if you're only going to get the core set, but as you buy more and more sets, you'll get more and more other worlds to go to. And when you go through a portal, you can draw a world card randomly, which tells you what world you're going to. I sometimes think it's fun just to pick what I want to, but there's the Norse Lands one, the Targa Plateau one. Got our troll trait cards. Cave trolls, ice trolls, mountain trolls, bridge trolls, river trolls, of course different color schemes, which makes you kind of wish that I had bought some troll packs. But again, if I'd been the Kickstarter, that was an option probably in the Pledge Manager. Well, I know it was. Here. And then, of course, the darkness cards, which we'll leave this way, just like in the game. And then the growing dread cards. There, so that's all the cards. Good job us going through all those cards. I hope for the couple people who wanted to look at every card, they got to see enough of them that they're content. Okay, now we're on to all of the cardboard. New starting tile, of course, with the boat, which I love. You got our Viking warrior. I guess you have 3 extra tokens because you have a total of 6 in a party. So you have the 3 plastic plus these 3 tokens. Ooh, those look fun. Body tokens, depth track. Here's the Targa starting. I like that. Oh, pelts. Alright, so that's a pelt token. And if you have a core set already, you have more than enough Moon and Sanity tokens, but here's more. And of course, I love the art on this one. And here it is in Targa. Targa is such a cool place. And I guess this adds some library places, specifically to Targa. A bunch more pelt tokens. I'll never be able to get a 3D printed thing to hold those, I'm sure. Targa. Here's the cardboard tokens for all of the tentacles. If you don't own another core set with tentacles, you've got tentacles now. I got the City of the Ancients, so I'm good. Which is why I'm excited about the Gates of Valhalla to add more to Targa. Side bag tokens, all the stuff you're used to seeing. We're really just here to look at the beautiful art of these map tiles. Love them. Decent for D&D too, if you really want to set up like a dungeon delve. Oh right, so here's the upgraded pieces for your Viking. Here you got tokens for your heroes. Oh, look at those Centurions just standing there. Terrifying. I love the different color pelts they've got. Now these are the standard rooms. So there's multiples of these. Alright, there's the same one again. This is the same board twice. Yep, nothing different. And, ooh, Librarian Prime as the token. Guess you could put it underneath the model. Or maybe you do need another Librarian. I don't know. Some new tokens. I don't think we've had these tokens before. And I still feel like we had rage tokens, but maybe we didn't. Targa Library Information tokens. Nice. Anything interesting here? Oh, there's the Archive Tower tokens. Okay. So no plastic models for these, obviously. So you can use these tokens after all. Hopefully they'll show up on the Frog website to purchase, because I would like plastic tokens of the Archive Towers. Unless I have them somewhere, I didn't realize I have them. I don't know. No, I definitely don't. Alright, so that is that box. Alright, so now onto this map tile pack. If you backed it on the Kickstarter, you're waiting for this to come. For those that had to buy it at retail, well, we got lucky this time that they sent this to us as well. So here we go. This might be more interest for people who have backed it and who are really big into Shadows of Brimstone. Alright, so talks about the new maps, the map extenders, the barriers, there's some new counters, and of course the 2 new missions that it adds, Frozen Search and Cold Mystery. Frozen Search, you can start it in the Norse Lands or the Targa Plateau, which is kind of cool, and same with the Cold Mystery, so that's nice. Let's see, this goal here, Frozen Search, you are searching the frozen halls of Targa or the snowy forests of the Norse Lands to find what you are seeking. It's a treacherous region and the darkness closes in all around. Nice and basic. And then you could find either the Mythic Tomb, the Dwarf Forgesmith, or Vengeance. And a Cold Mystery, the goal is to follow the trail of clues to solve the mystery or discover the fate of the missing expedition. So you're going to find some different clues, a death, a brooch, a runestone, a horn, a broken sword, and you're going to uncover the mystery, and based on what tokens you picked, you're going to get a different ending. Don't read those until you play the mission. Alright. Here it adds some new cards. Add some darkness cards. Pack attack. Ruthless excavate. Out of control. Okay, so those are pretty cool new darkness cards. I know I spoiled these ones and didn't spoil the other ones. But there's more chance people might not be sure if they want to pick this up or not. And encounters. Shadow at a time. Drones, projections, ancient forge, shimmering gates. That's in the Targa Plateau. The Norse Land encounters. Blood on the Rocks. Call of El. Yggdrasil awakened. Burning embers. Broken bodies. And then of course we have our map deck cards, which we don't need to look at. I gotta say that murder mystery mission, or that mystery mission sounds pretty fun, number 2. I'm gonna look forward to playing that. Alright, so we got this beautiful tree, and in Targa we have a library desk. Here we got a camp that's been attacked, or a little village that's been attacked, or a farm that's been attacked, and a Targa forge. That is nice. Massacre. And, ooh, that is a nice piece of art. And then these are the basic generics. There's 2 of them. And there's more generic, and then some more passages. So you actually have 6 passages total. All right, well, hope you enjoyed that unboxing and taking a quick look at everything. Quick, taking a look at everything. But yeah, this Norse set looks pretty exciting. I haven't been this excited for a Shadows of Brimstone thing in a while, but this looks amazing. I love all the Shadows of Brimstone stuff. It looks great, but like this, a lot of new amazing stuff. So thank you very much for sticking through to the end if you happen to. Have a great one, and we will talk again soon.